Welcome to Vino with Vito. Let's not forget Nina.
Hi.
And today our special guest is Sam Ventola. He's a mortgage broker.
Mortgage officer. I'm work now Unity Bank.
Okay.
Oh.
Very nice. And just to let everybody know, look at this bottle of wine Sam brought us today. A bottle of Caymus.
Take
What do you
note
think,
for the
Nina?
next guest.
Next guys, come on. You're going to have to beat a bottle
Beautiful.
of a bottle of Caymus here. So, Sam, while I open this wine, I just wanted to ask, how long have you been in the mortgage business?
Vito, I'm going on 28 years now. Yeah, 28 years.
Shit, yeah, that's
Almost as long as you've been doing real estate.
real estate. Yeah. And we want to let everybody know this is the first time I've actually met Sam. We've talked on the phone quite a few times. Had a couple deals.
We've had a
with
couple
Sam,
transactions, absolutely.
and those transactions were flawless. Gotta admit, no issues, nothing with those transactions.
I appreciate
Sam.
that. That's important.
You
Yeah.
did a great
And he would
job.
never say it if it wasn't true.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. So.
Absolutely,
not.
I would never say that. Now, Sam,
Well,
what
you
do
wouldn't be here, right? If you.
Exactly.
he definitely wouldn't be here if we had some issues with those. Let me try to open this. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Take your
guys.
time.
But yeah, he wouldn't be here if we had issues.
You got to
with
add
it.
some weights to your walk.
I know. I walk so much now. I got to start. You're right. You know what? Maybe
Yeah.
bring some dumbbells.
There you
when
go.
I
Hey,
walk,
listen.
3-4 miles a day, and now I'm
you go.
starting to run a little bit too. Can
I
you
can't
tell?
run.
I'm losing a little bit of
Well,
weight.
good. I can't. No,
But-
it runs. I can't do it anymore.
You don't need to lose weight.
Thank you. Just want to stay nice and.
Great shirt, by the way. Robert Graham.
Robert Graham, by the
see,
way.
there you go.
It's a new shirt that
Yes.
we wear for all the podcasts now.
I love it.
Oh, you have to
Pete-
clean it for tomorrow.
I got to clean it for tomorrow's podcast.
I love it.
And Ann does laundry every day, about 4 or 5 times a day,
Oh,
so I don't
gosh.
have an issue with that. Everybody was making fun of my Robert Graham
No,
shirts.
I like-
that were
soon as
all
I seen
different
it.
colors and,
No,
and all that.
Great.
But some of the split screen comparisons to things are funny.
Let me have your glass.
Now,
Go ahead.
little for me.
Just
My
a
wife
little?
will get mad at me if I drink because I'm usually the designated driver. She's the one
Okay.
who, you know what? We just put a straw in her
We're like,
bottle.
okay.
Nina, I like this guy.
I know. All right. If you have to.
It's just a sip to say salute, and that'll be good.
Absolutely.
That's
Don't-
usually what we do. Too.
That's what we do too.
That's what I like.
And we just want to remind all our viewers, is that good enough,
That's
Sam?
good.
This is a night podcast, so
All right,
we
good.
don't drink during the day, and
Never.
we don't want to get Sam here an Uber.
No.
So, by the way, salute.
Guys, salute,
Salute.
everyone.
Thank you so
buddy.
much
You
for
got
bringing
it.
this.
Cheers. Wow. My favorite, red and Caymus.
delicious.
Napa
Good.
Valley. Very nice. Thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you for
welcome.
that bottle
My
of wine,
pleasure.
by the way,
Yes,
Sam.
thank
And
you.
like Nina said, next guest, remember what
Yeah.
Sam
Hey,
told me,
listen.
Bottle of Caymus. Getting back to Robert Graham, though, I have a lot of Robert Graham shirts. I have pants, whatever. My son is actually going to go to the senior ball. And they're doing something different this year where
Is
they're
it like the
wearing
prom? Same
it's
thing?
like a prom,
Oh.
but it's more you don't bring a date. It's more everybody just
Oh,
goes,
I like
which,
that.
which is pretty cool. So they were talking, the dress code's going to be like neon colors and bright colors, this and that. So I picked out a beautiful jacket. Robert Graham actually just came out with a jacket because I get all those emails all the time,
Well,
and it's always
constantly. I just got one about an hour ago.
Do you wear the shirts too?
Some of them, yeah. I have a nice orange one that and I have
For summer.
they have a different white one that I have. So as soon as I seen the print, I said that has to be a Robert
Yes.
Graham.
There
Yeah.
you go. But so I texted to our group chat, our family group chat. I said, Ralphie, this will be perfect for you. So let's see if he wears it.
Oh, he'll
love it.
wear it.
I
I
hope
love
so.
it.
I hope
What high
so.
school does he go to?
West Essex.
Oh, nice.
In-
Okay.
In North Cornwall, Fairfield, North Cornwall,
Sure.
Essex Fells, and
Great
and
school.
Roseland. My daughter's graduated, and he graduates
Nice.
this year. So.
Plenty ball or any?
No. All he does is go to the gym.
At
And
least
work.
there's nothing wrong with
He
that.
works. He's a hard
That's-
worker.
He's a hard, but he goes to work. He's got 2 jobs, and
God bless him.
he loves working.
Ah.
So which is a great thing. I got to admit, my kids always love to work. I love to work, and that's why we got to keep rocking.
That's why
and
you're
rolling.
successful.
Thank
We
you.
have to remind Michelle when she comes on.
Oh
what
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
wine you brought.
that's right.
See, I want to come back. That's why I said I gotta bring it.
So Sam, we're gonna talk a little bit about yourself and what you do with mortgages. Nina and I have some questions.
Sure.
With what is going on now too with our credit scores.
like you have a
and
great
what
credit
that-
score.
That's
and
a
what that
very
does.
hot topic
not-
right now.
it's-
Yeah.
Can you
crazy.
explain a little bit of that for us?
It's a little deceiving because people think that someone with a 640 credit will have a better interest rate than a
Yeah.
740. It's not quite like that. They've actually risen. They rose the bar a little bit. It used to be 20% down. 740 credit was the premier score. They've raised it up to a 780. In essence, what it is the hit as far as the interest rates are higher for the people with credit scores under 780 than they are for the people with 640. So it's not that the 640 person is going to get a
Okay.
better credit score. They're not getting penalized as much as they did in the past. So,
okay.
you know what? They're trying to encourage people. The only thing is, like in August, a lot of people aren't aware that they're putting in a new threshold as far as the debt to income ratio. It's going to be 40%. Now, in the past, when you went to lock a loan, if your DTI was under a 45, you were set. Now, with it being lowered, those people who have a debt to income ratio of a 42 or 43, they're going to get a hit to their credit. And in many cases, they're the same people who have the 640 credit score. So it's been a little deceiving. I have my secondary guy, Ron Carty, probably one of the best in the business. I've been bringing him with me because he explains it far better than I could to explain it because it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, it was
convoluted.
very confusing.
Yeah.
It sounded like the better credit you had, the worse.
The worst.
worst.
It's
Right,
not.
the worst you
That's
were gonna
not the
get.
case, unfortunately. But they are trying to encourage, I guess, people buying houses. The other thing that, it used to be where if you bought a second home, it was similar to buying a primary residence. Now, if you buy a second home, the investors are treating it as an investment property. So the hits as far as interest rate on second homes and investment properties are a lot higher than they've been in the past. I hate to say it's almost like the government wants to curtail wealth a little bit. I hate to say that, but they're making it not so much more difficult, but more expensive for people who want to buy a secondary home or an investment property.
Right.
Yeah.
But like years ago, like we say now, okay, if you got a 640 credit score or 620 credit score, they're encouraging you to go buy a house
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
But now your DTI gets lowered from 40 to 40, from 45. Now, do you think that's going to affect the market like it did back in 07, 08 when everything just crashed?
No, I
Because
don't think so.
back then, people were buying houses, no money down. This was before your time.
Yes.
No money down.
No income.
No income verification. Closing costs included.
Yeah. It was the Wild West. It was really
Well,
people
we
were
bought our
buying
house
investment properties like that.
2004, and I do remember that. I mean, it wasn't in real estate back then, but I remember that because I was mad at my husband. I'm like, we could have had $1 million house. Look at this. He's
Yeah.
like, no, we could get
Right.
approved for it, but they were just. I feel like everyone was there at that time. They were approving loans that.
Oh, they were just getting
Negative amortization loans where their
Yeah.
start rate was like around 2, and so there were a lot of gimmick programs back then.
Yeah.
And finally, it stopped in 2009 when it hit the fan, unfortunately. So
And back then, Nina, I remember people going to buy a house. They were buying a multi-family house, a two-family, live in one floor, rent the upstairs. The upstairs was used as income. Zero money out of pocket. Put in 6% for closing
sure,
costs. Okay?
that's true.
So, the sellers would go, is there a deposit? Usually you give a good faith deposit, $1,000 or whatever. Oh, no deposit. It's going, no money out of pocket. And they'll be like, is it going to close? Oh, absolutely. Don't worry. It will close. And sure enough, it did close.
Yeah.
And some people, like here, on a $300,000 house, they would get 6% back for closing costs. So now the price of the house was $318,000, and the closing costs were included in that $18,000. But back then, what happened was, if that $18,000 was too much, say they only used 5,000 of it. Okay, I mean 12,000 of it. Meanwhile, they had an $18,000 credit. So you'd go to the closing, everything is done, everybody signs, and the buyer would get a check for $6,000.
They've stopped that even with like FHA. You're limited on what you could get back. So if your closing costs don't equal the seller's concessions, like if you have 18,000 in seller's concessions and then 12,000 or 12,000 seller's concessions and it's less than that, they won't cut you a check back like in that scenario for 6,000. You're limited on what you can get back. If you don't use all of the seller's concessions, you have to lower the sales price. So
Right.
Okay.
Or the seller would get
We don't
the
even
money
see
back.
those
Yes.
that often anymore, the seller's
Yeah,
concessions.
you
You see them,
still
but
you know what
not,
it is?
not
The,
as
the
not
way the
often.
market, it primarily was used for FHA loans. With the market being the way it is, where FHA loans are few and far between now, you don't see that buyer where you're working in the closing cost into the loan amount and stuff, unfortunately. So
I mean, sometimes you see it.
That
but
was
when
commonplace.
there's multiple offers, that's unfortunately.
when
it's
I
not
started,
gonna be on the
I started, I was primarily an FHA guy. I mean, 95% of my FHA deals had seller's concessions in it because the buyer literally just had 3.5%.
Just enough to
yeah,
put-
just
yeah.
enough. So we had to finance the closing costs.
Now,
And when they have, so with FHA, you have to fix, like, sometimes they'll ask you to fix things in the house before they'll close on it. And is that always the buyer's expense? Or,
You know, it's funny. People years back, I remember, my mother and father, God bless them, when they had a house. When I got in the business, they were selling it, and an offer came in as an FHA, and they were adamant, "Oh, no FHA." And I started laughing. I said, "It's not like it was back in the 70s, where, and still people have a bad." FHA, they're going to ask you to fix this. It's actually really not bad. In fact, if the town requires a CO, it's very seldom more difficult than what the town would ask for to fix. Usually it's something that, depending on what has to be done, it could be negotiated who pays it, the buyer or seller, but it's really not major. If it becomes major, then usually we'll switch the loan into an FHA 203K,
okay.
which is a renovation loan. But right now, you know what? It's a thing of you haven't seen an FHA buyer for quite some time, which they're trying to bring that back a little bit. I think once the inventory, if ever, improves, they dropped the FHA MIP, which is PMI, but in FHA terms,
Right.
they dropped it 30 basis points from 0.85 to 0.55. So they're trying to make it a little more affordable for that person with minimal down and maybe not the best credit.
Now, FHA gives you a better rate than your
Yes,
conventional.
right now, yes,
right
that's
now,
true.
And better PMI.
Yes.
So a lot of people might say, you know what, I'm going to go FHA versus conventional.
right,
I'm going to
keep-
get a better
hold
rate.
on to the money.
Right,
If they have
hold
to
on
fix
to the
things.
Caveat there is that with FHA, it used to be after 11 years you could get rid of the PMI.
Right, that was
Now
the-
you're stuck with it. So for that person who's paying $400 in PMI, in order to get rid of that, they won't get rid of it on an FHA when they accumulate 20% equity. In order to get rid of it, you're going to eventually have to refinance into a conventional product. So that's
Okay.
that's the only.
That's the only drawback
Yes,
with
yes.
FHA. But you're getting a lot of people today and a lot of agents, and I'm glad you're explaining that, where they'll see an offer come in FHA versus, conventional or versus, cash right away. Oh, I don't want that FHA. I just had the one in Clifton,
Yeah.
where I had 13 offers, okay? I had conventional, 30% down, 20% down, FHA, loan, this and that, and we went with an FHA loan. And believe it or not, people waiving appraisal, waiving inspections, even with an FHA, they were waiving, the difference in the gap
Sure.
of the appraisal, as long as they have the money.
Exactly.
They show proof of funds or whatever.
That's the
Right,
key
just
there.
because it's FHA doesn't mean they don't have
Have
the
the
money.
money.
In a lot
Oh,
of,
yeah.
and in
Yeah.
certain areas, like I do a lot of work in Hudson County, a lot of two families in Bayonne. In order to do a conventional loan to family, you need 15% down. Some of these two-family houses are 650, 700,000. The buyers don't have it. They may have 10% down, but they don't have the 15 or the 20. So we do a FHA loan, and they're able to get in there with less than 15% down and be able to. I'm doing one now for like 840,000, I think. The buyers are putting 5% down. So great buyers, great credit, great income, perfect. It's just they had enough money for 5% down, enough money for closing, enough money for reserves. They didn't have the 15% down to do it. So it worked out
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah, I look at it all the time as, the selling agent where I have the listing, or, when you have the buyer, you try to explain to the other agents. But when I look at these contracts coming in, FHA or whatever, you know what? It doesn't bother me. Because you have a lot of these agents, hey, I know I'm FHA, I don't have a shot, whatever. You know what? They're not asking for closing costs. They're just as the other one.
Sure.
And I look at the FHA loans too. You know what? If they're qualified for FHA, 99% of the time they're getting that loan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Other people can be qualified for a conventional with 25, 30, 50% down and can still get denied the loan. So you just don't know.
Yeah, FHA is more liberal, a little bit more liberal with credit, with debt to income ratios. So, but you've been around a while, so you've seen back, in the 90s where, FHA was a viable option. It was prevalent. Many of the loans were FHA.
Yeah.
For a lot of realtors who are newer in the business, they never, especially since the pandemic, they never had to deal with FHA. So it's almost like a foreign language. Oh, FHA, oh, no,
Yeah, people, I think at least, it's not that I thought that, but a lot of people were telling me that, they don't have the money, which isn't right. They're putting less down. Doesn't mean they don't have a lot of money. They
Exactly.
could be saving it to fix something up for something else, whatever. So it's not like
No. And what I do
it's
is
not necessarily a bad thing. Like
No, not at all.
And-
I had I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had the one where waiving the appraisal, FHA 3.5 down. They had 50% in the bank. They showed me proof of funds.
Yeah.
But they're going for FHA because they're saving the money.
Exactly.
They want to do work for the house.
What I do as a mortgage person, I like to say I'm like the custom tailor. You try to talk to the people and see, in this regard, what do you want to do? Well, I have the money, but I need to save it. So you kind of tailor what program you are to their best benefit. And in many instances, it is an FHA product. It may very well be. And you go, say, listen, in that case where that person could have went conventionally, it was important for them to hold that money in their account. So the FHA was more than a viable option, and they had enough money if the house underappraised to make up the difference.
right.
Right, and it's a good thing. Now, the only other drawback, the one drawback for FHA versus conventional is if you have someone flipping a house, okay? They have to own that house for
90
what?
days.
90 days or
90
180?
days. 90
I thought
days,
it was
and
180. Okay.
it's 90 days. I can't take an application from the 90 days. So if they flip the house and they want to say, okay, we'll close in 90 days, no. It's got to be from 90 days of that when they took the house over.
Okay, so
So-
they can't
Go ahead.
sell it. You're saying with-
Exactly. So
You can't write the
You can't write the
contract.
contract till they've owned it in their name 90 days.
Okay.
Once they've had it for 90 days, that 91st day, you could write the contract. I could do the application.
Now, is it from the date of the deed or the date of when they purchased?
I believe
Some people are.
I believe it's the
conflicted.
actual date it's purchased. If you could document that date, then because sometimes by the time, especially now since the pandemic, by the time the deed is recorded, it may be months afterwards.
Right.
So if you could document from the closing that I close on such and such a date, and you're 90 days past that, then we're okay.
Yeah, because I had someone that was, I knew someone that was flipping a house, and they got a deal, an FHA deal, and it was like 2 months into it. They signed the contract, go through everything, and then all of a sudden, a mortgage guy calls and he goes, "Hey, 3 weeks into it, we can't do this
Yeah.
loan until the 90th day or
Right.
91st
That's
day came up."
that's the
So,
first thing I look for.
Yeah, you had to stop everything, but you know what? The guy still purchased the house.
Right.
We had to wait.
Just had to wait.
And then redo
Sure.
the contract after, but everything was already in the works, so it worked out good.
Now, what about waiving appraisals on pre-approvals? Do you think it's sometimes like I've had deals where the lender will put on the pre-approval that the lender is waiving the appraisal, no appraisal is needed for the house, so it's like more appealing because it's almost like a cash deal.
You could do that. What in essence is, as a lender,
But we've had it backfire too.
well, as a lender, you're never waiving the appraisal. What in essence you're doing is say, hey, listen, the buyer is saying that if the house doesn't appraise, they are going to make up the
no,
difference.
but they didn't.
Well, as a lender, I have to make sure when Vito calls me and says, hey, Sam, hey, V, if they go over X amount, you know what? They have only enough money to cover $15,000. If they're putting a bid $50,000 over list and it doesn't appraise, we have an issue.
Right.
They
Yeah.
can't waive it.
Yeah, what Nina's trying to say is,
Good.
is where the lender will come back, they already know the property address. Say the people are putting 25, 30% down.
Okay.
They already plugged it in, and the bank is already saying.
It's definitely gonna appraise almost.
You don't need an appraisal. We're already good on that.
You still get, I just had one, it might have been for a house in Cedar Grove, you put it through the system, and the DU came back with
Yeah.
an appraisal waiver.
Right.
Appraisal
Now,
waiver, that's
with
what-
that,
Yeah.
that's fine.
That's
With
what I
that
meant.
being said, I had young buyers and they're kind of nervous. I said, listen, I could do your loan. I don't need to do, you don't have to pay the $800 or $700, $600 for the appraisal fee. However, they were so nervous, they wanted to see.
They just wanted to know what their
They
home
wanted
was
so they
worth,
could
right? Yeah, I
Your
don't-
customer
they
wanted
could
to
still
know,
pay
yeah.
for the appraisal. That's not an issue.
But we also had the attorney on the seller side that didn't understand what that meant. So when he saw that, he's like, "So you're waiving the appraisal? It doesn't matter what it appraises at. You guys are buying the house. If it appraises $75,000,
The lender should have called the attorney or said, listen, the DU system is not requiring the house to be appraised.
No, we did it. We tried. He
Again,
just,
depending on what attorney, some
Yeah,
of the
he
old-time
didn't
attorneys,
understand.
Yeah, it was an old-time
Yeah.
attorney. He was like.
They're
he
tough.
did not understand
Yeah.
it, and so he came back, and I forget what the house, but he said no, it has to appraise $75,000 less than the list price. No.
at that point,
So then,
you
know,
could
then it
agree
got
to it
all-
only because you knew
It
the lender was,
being waived.
it was
right,
being
but
waived.
then in a situation like that, when the buyers are looking at it and see the attorney
get
review,
nervous,
they
yeah.
get nervous
They get
and say,
nervous.
"Wait a minute, it's almost like we're waiving the
Yeah.
appraisal here."
Because there's a
which-
teeny tiny chance that something could happen, and they might have to do an appraisal, and you don't
and
want
then
to get
all of a
stuck,
sudden
but-
you don't.
Because I know
wanna
some
get
people
stuck.
were saying it's better to do it when you're under contract. All of a sudden, surprise everyone, you don't need the appraisal, and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
But when you do it in the contract and you send it over, then it kind of, some people are happy, and sometimes it doesn't raise red flags, but people, then they want that, now we have to sign a waiver of appraisal
Yeah.
in the contract. So
Right,
then they want
right.
you to
It's a
sign
little
that, and the
convoluted,
buyer-
yes.
Yeah.
But you always have the buyers always saying, "Well, I still want an
I would
appraisal."
want to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I want to know, what it is.
Gee-
I know you're waiving it, but why are you waiving it, or why,
Yes.
I would too, to be honest. And
Yeah.
we could close a loan now with a no survey endorsement. So you can buy a house, and with that endorsement, you don't need a survey. I always said if I was buying a house, I'd want a survey.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I have an attorney where he will not do the closing without a
Valid.
survey.
I don't blame him. I mean,
Yeah.
if don't you want to know what the boundaries of the property are? I mean,
Yeah, of course.
I would.
But it's so cutthroat now. I feel like buyers feel like they have to agree to whatever they're throwing out there because they're like, you know what? We have 14 other offers. If you're not going to agree to it, someone else
That's
is
the
going
God's
to.
honest
You have
truth,
to make
though.
a decision.
It is the truth. It's a seller's market, and they have the hammer, and they're swinging it.
They dictate whatever
It
they
happens
want.
again with my same buyers. We put an offer in. They did not waive any appraisal. They didn't even limit inspection or anything during attorney review, even though they were in attorney review with someone else. They canceled that contract, took hours, and then they asked us to waive the appraisal. But it's like, why wouldn't you ask that before you signed the contract?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had one
If that's-
lately where my buyers came back and said the agents want to remove the mortgage contingency. Good buyers. I said, I don't want to do it. They said, well, I don't foresee you having any problems, but I'll use for instance, when COVID hit unexpectedly,
Oh, yeah.
people that were qualified buyers, now all of a sudden were out of work, lost their jobs, and they were no longer eligible to get it out. I said, I don't want to be that guy 3 weeks into it, something unexpectedly happens,
Yeah.
and I got to come to you and say, no, we can't do it because you're not working anymore, and you're going to lose your $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 deposit. I said, I will not, in good conscience, I can't do it.
And again, getting back to attorneys, when attorneys are doing their job right, they look at it where I had an attorney, and it's an attorney we use all the time, which is going to end up being a guest on here, but he'll get review letters back where the other attorney will put on there, okay, if you get a mortgage commitment and it gets pulled back, you're still buying a house. Or if you get a mortgage commitment, the only way is upon death. You're not buying a house.
Yeah,
or
that's.
whatever. But he's like, wait a minute. If the person loses their job, like you said,
Exactly.
they can't buy the house.
can't buy
So
the house.
why am I
Exactly.
going to get locked in
Yeah.
to doing that? And getting back to when COVID hit, we had a deal on a house, and I'll never forget. It was March 2020. We were supposed to close, and 2 days before the closing, it was like the middle to end of March. The guy lost his job. He worked in New York City, and lost his job.
It was probably it happened
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
a bit. Knock on wood, I say, thank God. I look back, I didn't lose a deal during all of COVID, which was a nice feeling because I had friends of mine in the business who lost a few deals because of that same situation where somebody lost their job or something to that extent. So. As a good conscience, I can never tell a buyer, hey, listen, they could be the best buyer in the world. I can't tell you to waive that mortgage contingency. I won't do it. Go somewhere else. I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. The only way you'll waive that if you were planning on maybe buying it outright afterwards or whatever. Then it's a different story. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Just get me to the finish line. Let me
And the
close.
people that
and then
want to,
I'll-
if they want to like waive the appraisal up to a certain amount, if they're planning on staying in that house for 20, 30 years,
It's not an
What's
issue.
the- it's not
Yeah,
an issue,
exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
It's just that it's ridiculous because every person you talk to is waive the appraisal, limit the inspection. I just wrote up a contract today, and I'm reading everything that the realtor wants. It's like, do you want their firstborn also?
well, that's what they do now.
Give me
They
a-
send
give me
you
a break.
a 2-page email
Yeah.
I love
about
it.
what they want
true.
in their offer, what the
Yeah.
sellers are looking for. Of course, they want the highest price. Of course,
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
would love someone to waive an appraisal, come in with
yeah.
cash, and
Yeah.
waive the inspections.
Right.
But I mean, come on.
And it was funny.
And
I
close
did-
in 10 days.
Yeah.
I did the contract. I sent it to the buyers. They signed it. I got it back, and then I get a text. Hey, by the way, did we waive appraisal or inspections or anything like that? I said no. You didn't waive any of that. You limited the
Right.
inspection.
Which is fine for houses that aren't really open. Like, as long as there's a seller's disclosure, the ages of things,
right.
that type of stuff. But it's like a case by case. You
Case-
can't just do it for every
you
house.
You just said
You
it.
can't
Each
do it.
situation's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had one where you go into the house and it was new construction, and I'm looking at the new construction, and I'm saying, you know what, this builder did a good job. I mean, he did everything great. I don't think you're going to see an issue with this. Then I had one 20 years ago, new construction. I'm going through the house and I'm looking at all the defects, and I'm like, this guy's a builder.
Yeah.
What the hell? I'm seeing daylight in the basement walls, But the buyers were like, "Wow, this house
What a
looks
beautiful-
great!
Well,
What a
They don't-
beautiful house!"
They're just
I
looking
love
at
it.
the
Yeah, wait till-
aesthetics of it. They're,
Yeah. Wait till
they're
you move
wowed.
in. You get cold air and
But
the
if they're even
basement
the
coming
sellers,
through
they
that hole.
ask for if they want a quick closing or they want a use and occupancy for 3 months free of charge.
Yeah,
I've seen that too. Like
Oh,
they don't want to
yeah.
pay for the use
They
and
don't want to
occupancy.
pay. Yeah. They don't.
You
wanna
close
pay
on
for
the
rent.
house in June. We get to live in it until August or September, and people do it.
Because they're so desperate. I have people I have done pre-approval letters for now shopping almost a year and a half, sometimes close to 2 years that I'm still working with the same people.
Yeah.
I did a pre-approval letter the other day for someone I'm working with for literally, God's honest truth, 2 years. And have been outbidded or something has happened every time they put a contract in.
And then they went from the mortgage rate of 2.5%,
I
3%
know,
to
I
7%.
know.
They were qualified for $1 million. Now
That's
it's
the other.
600.
You just, someone you worked with, a year and a half ago or a year ago, it's totally different now with the rates.
yeah, they can't afford as
Exactly.
Back in, it was, I'll never forget this too, in 07, 06, 07, and the market was kind of like this, but back then it was
booming.
It was booming.
Just more inventory.
Just
so,
more
yeah.
inventory. So they were giving away money, no money down, whatever. But people were coming back with the way they're doing it now. Hey, you're going to waive the appraisal. Hey, you're going to waive the inspection. You're going to waive this. You're going to waive that. And it was like right towards the end of it, I had an agent, I'll never forget, asking me to waive everything, And meanwhile, I go, how many offers do you have? Because the end was coming back then. She goes, I don't have any. You're the only offer. So I go, why would we waive everything? you know. And she's like, yeah, but everybody's doing it. I said, yeah, everybody's doing it when you got 10 offers.
Exactly.
On it.
Yeah, you
I'm
have
the only,
nothing.
but a fool that you are for telling me you
told
don't have
us.
any
I
other
said she could have
offers.
played it off a little bit.
Right,
and said
say
she
I had a
couple.
couple offers, but she goes, I have
Or even
no
one
offers.
that's
Yeah.
willing to do it.
Right, but I have no offers, but can you waive? Yeah, okay.
That is the hard
I'll
thing
see
too,
you
though.
later.
You can ask someone, do you have offers? And yeah, I have 6 offers. You have no idea.
That's
You
the
have
truth.
no idea if they have none, if they have 6, if they have 10, if they have. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, significantly over asking," and then it closes. It was $5,000
Yeah.
over
Yeah, I
asking.
remember that deal, $5,000.
Yeah, they-
That-
well-
I thought that house was at least going to go for $50,000 over asking price. It was gorgeous. Even my clients were like, "Do you want to live here?" I'm like, "Yes, I want to live here." It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I cannot believe when I saw that close.
Only 5,000
It
more.
was only $5,000 more.
But
But
that-
it could be because, I don't know, maybe they didn't have as many offers that he said they had.
Could
and everyone got
underappraised, or
intimidated,
yes, or there might have been some
right.
repairs.
shares needed.
Yes,
or-
Right,
exactly.
and then
and
they adjusted
yes,
the
and
price.
they negotiated
I know, but
down.
I was really expecting that one to be
Yeah.
well above.
Yeah, I had one where they came in, I think it was close to $100,000 over or something. And we ended up taking, that deal or whatever. They went, they did a home inspection. This was a couple years ago before the craziness like now. But they do a home inspection. They came back with a laundry list. And, they're saying now it's structural, it's this, it's that. And the seller's like, you know what, we're like a week or two before closing. They had their commitment. And I forget, I think they wanted like $50,000 or $75,000 back. And naturally the seller's upset. Now do you say,
Yeah,
okay,
because it's not the same deal
it's
that
not
they
the
agreed
same
on.
deal they
Not even
agreed
close.
upon. Not
Yeah.
even close.
No.
Now the whole thing was, let's go back to the other people that had the deal or that had offers on it and start again from scratch. Now as agents, we got to tell them, hey, we think there's structural damage.
Sure.
or,
Did a structural
know,
engineer come out, or they just?
I don't recall if a structural engineer
expensive.
came out, but they looked at all the stuff, and the seller goes, okay, we'll take the deal, we'll take the lesser price, we'll give it back. And right before we were closing, they do a walkthrough. Now me, as an agent, I'm always on, when I have the
You're the
seller,
seller.
I'm on the seller's side. When I have the buyer, I'm on the buyer's side. So they do a walkthrough and they come in and they say, well, there's still stuff in the basement. Now the seller didn't live there, he just rented it out. And it was being sold upstairs, vacant, downstairs.
But just like boxes and like
Right, it was
stuff.
little stupid
Yeah.
stuff. And they're like, no, we want everything out of the house. We want this, we want that. I want, we want $1,000 credit, because we got to get
Oh.
somebody in. Now I'm like flipping my lid, right?
Yeah.
They're at the
Because
closing.
now you take you.
They're taking advantage.
thought-
You
yeah,
just
they're
said
taking
it. You
advantage,
just said it.
They're taking
and
advantage.
you think
Yes.
just
Right.
because they gave you that, they're going to give you whatever you
they're
want.
going to give
now.
you everything. So now the seller's almost like, you know what, just let's get it done or whatever.
No.
And I'm looking at it, I'm saying, you know what, they took advantage before.
You got a lot of-
Now they want to take advantage
Yeah.
again. And the realtor was like one of those agents where you're like, you're taking advantage. Now you want more or whatever. No, they got to get rid of the stuff. I said, okay.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
they got $75,000 back or whatever. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. When I got a company, they're going to come and take everything out of there, okay? And I said, and while they're at it, they're going to come and take the washer and dryer that's on the second floor and the refrigerator. Well, no, they're not. It's included in the price. It's included in the contract. Every washer and dryer and refrigerator is included in the contract. I said, yeah, when the realtor puts on there that it's included.
It's included.
I said, this wasn't included. I go, look at the contract. It never showed
Good for you.
washer, dryer, refrigerator, and never showed, included on the listing. So I said, I have no problem. My guy will be there in about 15 minutes. I'll take pictures of the basement. I'll take pictures of washer, dryer, refrigerator, and then you can close. Can you
We'll
hold
keep
on a minute?
everything.
Can you hold
We'll
on
keep
a
the
minute?
boxes. In
So I said, yeah, I can hold on a minute. 20 seconds later, you know what? They'll
We'll
take
take it,
care
yeah.
of it. But again, you got to put
Good
your
for
foot
you.
down.
But it's
Good.
ridiculous.
But that's how you
sometimes.
do it. But that's when, again, when you have an agent that knows what they're
I
talking about.
was just going to
and
say,
what they're
9
doing.
out of 10 agents wouldn't do what you
What-
they,
what-
they would
what
have just
if they
said
did that?
they would
Yeah, give
acquiesce
them
and
the
said, give them
$1,000.
$1,000.
Right, get them
Or I
$1,000.
would have
That's a
physically
big-
taken. I would have taken this stuff
You
and
you
thrown
would
it in
have
my
went
car.
there. You would have.
I would have. I'll get rid of everything. What do you want to get rid of?
Bring the pickup truck,
Yeah.
Phil. We're unloading
That's
the
what I would've
basement here. But that's what you would have done. But I look at it the other way. People try to take advantage of everything. You know what? You give so much, and they want.
Yeah,
want. Come on,
I can't.
Enough is enough.
No.
You got 75 grand back. But then when it did close, okay, and we ended up closing, I got all the other agents that had a higher offers asking me why I didn't go with their offer.
Oh, because when it closed, they saw that it closed for a
It
lot
closed
lower.
less.
Yeah.
So a lot less. So that's when I had to explain, it probably had some
There was big
structural
structural damage.
It was,
Yeah.
the people taking advantage or whatever, and it closed. But that's the things we face.
I had the deal that the seller was totally taking advantage of it was the opposite. The seller was taking advantage of the buyer. They accepted our offer, cash offer, quick closing, limited the inspections. But if there was like leaks and mold, that was in
Sure.
the contract. So they find major leaks. Like they turn on the bathroom, the dining room ceilings like dipping in, it's mushy, whatever. The seller was like, nope, not giving you nothing. You're not getting anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And he was like, okay, and then we negotiated a little bit. But I'm like, it's just crazy how the terms, all of a sudden they go from what you signed the contract with to whatever either the buyer or the seller wants.
and like
Whoever's going to hold
you
out
said,
longest.
it goes both
almost.
ways. When it's a buyer's market,
Yeah.
the buyers will take advantage. Sellers, the seller will. So
By the
It's
way,
crazy.
Sam, this is some great wine.
Delicious.
that makes you feel good that you like it. So
Delicious.
I like that.
We normally wouldn't drink this much.
That's
Yeah.
it. Listen, enjoy. So
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we finish this.
that's
bottle.
good. All right,
Like
good.
every other
And I
bottle.
see he gave himself a little extra.
No,
That's
no, I
okay.
met you. I did with my eye,
Oh.
I got
Good
the
thing.
one eye,
Finish
I
it,
was
because
able to-
if my wife watches this and she sees there's some left, she'll say,
No.
"What was the rest of the Caymus? Where'd it go?"
Where'd it go? Bring it home. I want to drink some. But you're talking about buyers, sellers, agents, how we do things different. I'll never forget. This has got to be going back 20 some odd years ago. And back in the day, Nina, it's not like it is now. When you had a contract and you had to present a contract, it wasn't where it was just, here, final and best, this and that. You had to actually sit in front of the seller and present the contract. So if you were the listing agent, you bought the buyer's agent and you sat down. If you were the seller, and vice versa. So I'll never forget, I had a young couple buying a house in Lincoln Park. And just to show you how long ago it was a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath colonial. The asking price was $205.
Oh my God.
Okay? So we go in at
You can't get a garden apartment for
No,
that.
you can't even
I'd like to have that house again.
You can't even get that. And I'll never forget, we write up the offer, young couple buying it. I think we went in at $190,000. So I go present the offer. I got the other agent there. I got the seller, and I have myself sitting. It was at night, and my wife's cooking dinner. She's waiting for me. So I said, it's going to be pretty easy. And back then you had the flip phone still or whatever. So I go present the offer, and I'm talking to the seller and the realtor, and I go, my buyers have offered you $190,000. The guy looks at me. He goes, $190,000. You, Vito, you can go F yourself. Get the F
The agent
out.
or the seller?
The seller. Get the F out of my house. Who the F you think you
That's
are?
like
And he's going,
$15,000.
yeah.
It's not like it was
He's going-
$200,000.
He's going
less.
on and on and on. The listing agent was just sitting there, didn't say a word. I said, look, I'm the middleman here. I said, all I'm here to do is
Exactly. Present it. You're not
present
buying
the
it.
offer. I said,
Yeah.
I didn't write the offer, right? So I said, let me go talk to the sellers. Let me go outside. To the buyers. Let me go outside, make a phone call. I go make a phone call. The buyers are like, so what do you think? I said, well, they told me to go F myself. They want 205, or whatever. They go, you know what? It's a nice house. Should we give them the 205? I said, no, we're going to go in at 194. They go, what? I said,
Where'd you
yeah.
get 190? Like why
I
190?
said just 194. well, he pissed me off
Yeah.
now. So I go in and I said, look, I talked to him, they're going to come in at, 194. He starts wailing at me again. Who do you think you are?
You should have said, I don't know, where are the other
I
offers?
said, right. But that's how.
I don't see anybody
I don't
else
see
here.
anything. And I'm looking at the agent, not saying a word. This guy's, effing me to death, throwing me out of the house. I said, all right.
He probably knew it was coming.
I'll be right back. I said, look, let me go make another phone call. So I go outside. Meanwhile, I knew that they wanted to pay the
They paid full
205,
price,
right?
sure.
So I said, you know what? This guy pissed me off enough already. Told me to leave a couple of times. Threw the F-bomb so many times. So I go back in again. I go, okay. I talk to them again. I said, look, they're going to offer you $200,000, and before you say another effing word, I go to the guy. I said, that's what they're offering you. If you don't want the effing deal, you can go F yourself. And if you want the deal, you can effing sign right here and now. And the other agent's looking at me like, and he goes, how much is it again? I go, $200,000. He goes, okay, where do I sign? And he signed the deal. I said, but any other agent would have been like getting thrown out the first time.
When I first started, I'd be like, okay, we'll give you $215.
Yeah. But the best part would be while I was telling that, you either effing sign the deal or whatever, because I effing don't really care. I go, my wife's cooking dinner, and she's cooking lobster tonight, so I want to friggin' go home. But he signed the deal.
I love it.
He signed
I love
the
it.
deal.
But it is a good feeling when you know what you're doing and you go back at those. Remember that guy, I'm not going to say his name. He was the biggest, you know what, and he talked, remember how like he talked to me like a piece of crap, and you were like, give me the phone, give me, I'm like, I got this. And I told him the way it was. He had no leg to stand on. He thought he was going to like bully me, and then, okay.
There's no need.
okay.
I don't know why people do that. There's no need for it. See, that drives me crazy.
Years old.
Yeah, that's not
It was
right.
and he actually apologized to me.
Oh,
'cause
at
I
least
went
that's,
off on him, and I was like, don't ever pick up the phone and talk to me like that again. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but if we weren't the best deal that you had, you wouldn't have accepted
Exactly.
it. There's structural damage, there's all this stuff. You think by being at the inspection that you're going to call the seller and give him a heads up on everything. Do it all you want.
Yeah.
The facts are there. It's in the sheet. We'll go. He doesn't have to buy. He's buying this as an investment property. He doesn't need to buy this particular
right.
house.
Exactly.
And I said, don't you ever talk to me.
Good for you. I'm
he
glad.
Actually he
I'm
actually
good for you.
apologized.
You
and then
imagine-
he didn't show up to the closing.
Imagine he probably was nervous. How many
No,
people?
he didn't leave us the keys. He just didn't acted like the closing wasn't happening. We go to the house, my clients are there, and we can't get in the house. He didn't answer his phone. I called him 10 times. Called his manager. And he never answers his phone. I'm like,
That's
really?
a pet
He
peeve
never
of
answers
mine.
his phone.
You pick up. You know what?
He never.
got it.
He
You
had
got
5
it.
text messages.
Yeah, that's
prior
crazy. You have to
that,
answer your phone. Yeah.
Either answer your phone, or if you can't answer, hey, I'll call you right back.
Exactly.
Or, I'm on the phone.
Something,
or
yeah,
whatever.
like-
No,
you can't
listen.
answer the phone,
As soon
it's
as I
fine,
leave
text
here,
it.
I'll be in the car, and whoever called me, I'll be calling them right back.
them
And
right back,
yeah,
right.
I mean, so my wife and I, they laugh at me because Saturday, Sunday, holidays, whatever the time, if you call, I'm picking up the phone and what's up? How can I help you?
Yeah.
It's
You just always do.
But that's why you're successful too, Sam, because you do that. And again, we do that too. If somebody calls, if somebody needs, a question answered or whatever, you got to be there.
Exactly.
And now, especially with offers due at 2 p.m. on Sunday, offers due at 5 p.m., 8 p.m., all days.
You have
of the
to be
week,
accessible
you
as
have
possible.
to.
Yes.
You have to.
And for me, I mean, I realize in this business, a lot of real estate is sold on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of real estate is done after work, typical work hours. So if I'm not going to answer the phone at those particular hours, I'm no good to the customer or who my client, the realtor.
Yeah. I talked to a guy today. He's like, you can do stuff after 5 p.m.? I'm like, yeah. You'll answer your phone. Yeah. What do you mean? I can go see a house after 5 p.m. You don't just... No. You can go see a house. I said,
exactly.
as long as I don't have another appointment, we can go see
I got
whatever
one
you
this
want.
week, she sent me an email, and it was like Saturday at 11 o'clock, and I answered it back like 11:05. And she said, oh my God. I said, whatever you need. And she called me later on Saturday. She called me on Sunday. We got her, in fact, finally got our pre-approval letter out today because she finally decided, but, it's the nature of the business. You have to you have to be accommodating to people.
If I don't have, if I have clients I've been working with for a long time and I don't answer them in a few hours just because I look at it's nothing urgent, I have other things to do and so sorry. we were so worried about you. We thought something happened to you. I'm like, it's only been 2 hours.
I have realtors like that. If I don't answer like in a certain time,
He's
it's
like,
like
you always
they
answer
call,
us immediately.
are you okay?
I'm like, I know, but
I was in,
sometimes I do have other things to do.
It's funny sometimes, like me, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, every morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm on the computer, I'll send emails, or I'll be on Facebook or whatever. And all of a sudden, my phone starts buzzing. And it's like a buyer or a seller. It's like 6:30. Hey, I see you're up on Facebook, or
Yeah, because
whatever.
they want to text you or call you, but
Right,
they always feel like it's too early.
Yes.
Can't call you. Is it okay? Good time to talk or whatever? I said, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm up. Meanwhile, you call other agents at 9:30, 10
Oh,
o'clock.
you
They're
can't even
still
get it. Yeah, you can't
Or
get them.
anytime. You
Yeah.
can't get some agents, and
And
they
it-
just
that's-
don't answer the phone. They don't answer their text. I had someone, I called them, I think 3 times. I texted them. I emailed them. And then I called the office because I was like, you know what? Now it's at the point where I need this question answered. We're going to put an offer in. And she answered the phone at the office.
I don't understand. Even like,
I'm like, why didn't you answer
If I'm at
your
a
cell
wedding
phone?
or something, and I say, listen, do me a favor. I'm at it. I can't talk right now. I'm at a venue where I can't. Can I call you back at such and such? Or if it's that important, let me try and get a colleague to help you. By just ignoring them,
Right.
that just drives
Yeah,
me crazy.
yeah.
Like
me
I've
too.
had where
Yeah.
I was on my way to a wake, or not a wake, a funeral, and I texted everyone that I had things going on with.
Say, I'll be
hey,
at a funeral.
Just FYI, I'm at
Yes.
a funeral for the next
Yes.
couple of hours. If you try not to call me. If you need something, text me. I will get back to you, but it might take a little bit longer than normal.
Sure.
And I just give everyone a heads up so they don't call, because now everyone wants immediate
Yes.
satisfaction all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say, oh, it's been 2 minutes. She didn't
They've
text
never
me
called.
back.
Yeah.
Or like if you see someone and they text you, I don't know why people have read receipts on their, or read receipts on their
yeah,
on their phones, because
or emails
there's
too.
nothing worse than seeing someone and you could tell they read it at 8:17 and now it's like 9:05
And they haven't called you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Why didn't they get back to me? I know that they saw my
You
message.
should always.
They're
I
thinking
get yelled
about
at by my kids because Sunday 10:30 we go to 10:30 mass, and sometimes the phone will go off and I'll hit it and I'm
just
in
the
church.
little, right.
Can,
Just
can
the
I
little-
call you soon? Hey, Dad, come on.
Right, yeah.
I'm in church. I'll call you back as soon as I'm out. So.
That happened to me yesterday. We're at a communion in church, and my phone, and I did the same thing. My wife's like, "Are you serious?" Right now?"
Was it
Yeah.
me? Because I think I called you.
No. it wasn't you.
I get that a lot.
It was
I,
like-
it happens in
she
church.
was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
Right now.
Or I'll leave the beach. I'm on the beach and I can't see my phone because the sun's
The sun, yes.
on it. So I'll either go to the car, or if we didn't take the car, I'll walk home and just like sit down for 5 minutes and like figure everything out.
But you have to. This is our business.
Yeah.
This is what we do, and that's why we're good at it. Because again, the biggest thing is answer your phone.
Yes, without a doubt.
When I worked in corporate too, I sold to major home centers, and I reported to a lot of the top guns there, and they called. Shit, no matter what time, excuse my French, no matter what time, you picked up the phone, you answered the phone. We had another guy that worked with us that called on half, I called on the other, wouldn't answer his phone.
Yeah, that's.
And they would call me. How come I can get you, can't get the other guy? And I'm like,
Yeah. No, that's true.
answer
Exactly.
your
I
damn
I feel like we say this all the time, like every other podcast. We're like, for the love of God, just answer
You know
your
what?
phone.
But for me, it works to my advantage because you'd be so many other mortgage people don't answer in a timely fashion or don't answer at all. It works to in my advantage that, you know what, I've come reputation. Sam can't get you no matter
Right,
what
right.
day and
He'll
time,
answer your phone.
he's going to get back to you. I have clients who call me, listen, so-and-so said to call you. It's okay. I know it's the weekend, but that you would pick up the phone.
phone.
Absolutely. How can I help you?
But you talking about that, right? I had a guy I gave, a number of, I was going to give a phone number to, or just a call. I called the mortgage guy one time, right? Just for giggles, right? Doesn't answer his phone.
He does do that a lot. He'll test you to
He
see
do-
who's going to answer the phone.
Doesn't answer his phone.
I like
right?
that.
Yeah, he does.
But he didn't answer his phone. So about 45 minutes later, my phone rings. It's the mortgage guy. Hey, Vito, what's up? I said, sorry, too late. He goes, what do you mean too late? I said, I was doing a conference call with a buyer. He wanted to talk to you, but I guess you didn't have the time to answer the phone.
That's the reason. I in the back of my head when that phone rings, My wife says you get so nervous. Because that might be someone who needs me at that instant, and they can't
Just because
wait.
you're right, they can't wait. They're going to call somebody
Somebody
else.
else.
and
Exactly.
lose out.
Exactly.
And that's what I told the guy. I was just goofing around on him. I go, yeah, but I'm sorry you didn't answer the phone. So I went to the next guy. And guess what? He picked up on half a ring. It didn't even ring the whole time. I go, guess who's getting the deal? It's the other guy.
Oh,
And he's
that
like,
would have
"You
driven me."
son of a-"
And
he kept asking me for like the past week. So, are you serious? I said, absolutely. I said, now next time answer your phone.
Listen, I've answered in the bleachers in the World Series at Yankee Stadium, and you can listen. Is it life or death? Because I can't hear you. I'll call you back. It's where you at the World Series.
Right.
Okay, you're go enjoy. But you just let them know, hey, listen, it's not. I want to get back to you.
Always, I always
Yeah.
pay, and my son's always like, because if he's playing, usually he's a big baseball player, but he plays basketball too. Why do you always leave my games? Because my phone rang and I have to get out, so I'll walk outside.
I've done
I'll
that
answer the phone.
constantly. I mean,
All the
my
time.
son played football and basketball in high school, and from the bleachers or you know what, I'm calling back as my little guy is playing. Now it's baseball. I'm on the sidelines. In fact, the other day, the woman said, I hear you're at a game. I hear applause. I said, yeah, and so, but you always
And
try
I think
to.
they appreciate the fact that they know
That
that
you
you
Exactly.
and you answer.
Right.
And I'll say, listen,
And
can
I'll
I
say,
can I give you a call back?
Yes.
I'm just at my son's game.
Yep.
Is it okay? Can I, you know what? And if it's an emergency, I'll excuse myself from the game. I'll go in the car and say, okay, talk to me. What's up?
But you'll talk to them. And then it's the other way around too, though, where you'll get a new buyer, right? And they'll call you. You're gonna go show them a house. It happened to me one time, where I want to go look at this house. So what do? We make appointments for a certain time. If you're gonna show them 2 houses, okay, we're gonna go to the first one at 4.
But you
the
figure out you
second
do.
one-
I
yeah,
do MapQuest.
right.
I know because I'm old.
Yeah,
But I do MapQuest still.
The next one's
I
at
don't.
4.
They're like, use Google Maps. I'm like,
What?
no, I just MapQuest on the actual computer, not on my phone.
So I had a buyer going back years ago, right? He calls, he wants to go look at a house. New guy, we're talking on the phone. We hit it off. We're on the phone for like 10, 15 minutes. Okay, can we set up an appointment? I said, sure. We're going to go, what time works for you? Well, you know what? I can do 4 o'clock at, we'll meet at the house. And it's always Lincoln Park. For some reason, Lincoln Park comes up. And I sold that same house 3 times from this guy. So he calls up, we're going to go at 4 o'clock to Lincoln Park. I said, can you meet me in the office 10 to 4?
Sure, we'll go
quarter to
together.
4,
Oh, so you
and
went
we'll go
together.
together. We went together back
What
in
year
the
was
day.
this?
That's how it used to be. Yeah.
1940.
He got on the back of the donkey.
He got on the back of the. It was a mule. So all of a sudden it's like 10 to 4. It's not there. 5 to 4. I'm like, what the hell? You're calling, no answer. Finally, I see a car pull up into the office. Never saw the person before. Pulls in or whatever, and doesn't get out of the car. Now it's like 4 o'clock, 5 after 4. Person's still in the car. All of a sudden, at 10 after 4, decides to come out, walks out, comes into the office. He goes, hey, I'm looking for Vito. My name's Mike. We have an appointment. I look at my watch. I go, hey, Mike, how you doing? Yeah, we had an appointment like 25 minutes ago. I go, what the F? You were now you go the other route because you're like, now you're pissed.
You're pissed
But-
off.
Well, you're
yeah,
sitting there
you're
this
sitting
whole
in a
time.
car or whatever. Oh, I had a conference call or whatever. I said, dang, good thing you had a conference call. I texted you. You could have texted me
Text
back.
me back,
Yeah.
Hey,
yes.
I'm on a conference call or whatever.
It's just
I said,
courtesy.
Or even knock on the door and
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm
can
on
you?
the phone.
I'm
like,
on the
for
phone,
1
yeah.
minute.
Whatever. But, it was like I'm on a conference call,
He didn't
whatever.
care about your time
Yeah,
at
they
all.
didn't care about
They don't
our
care.
time.
Yeah.
They don't
There's
care
a lot
about
of
our
people
time.
like that.
That are like that.
Yeah.
But I put the guy right in his place. I said, look, I'm going to tell you right now. I really don't even feel like bringing you to that house because we were supposed to be there at 4. It's now a quarter after 4. You're already treating me like, oh, no, I'm sorry. All of a sudden, it turned around where you not told them off, but you were
You were
stern. Hey,
stern,
my
yeah.
time
My
time
is
is just as
valuable.
important.
too.
Listen,
Need yours.
I mean, we used to, and I still like to meet people when I can. I'm old school. I like to sit with people, get to know them. But I stopped doing applications or meeting people on Sundays because I said, listen, I give work 6 days a week. The one day I have to give to my family.
Yeah.
And I said, how many times I would say, okay, let's meet at so-and-so time. forget about being an hour late.
Just not
They
showing
didn't
up.
show.
Just not
And I said,
showing
you know
up,
what?
yeah.
It's not fair to my wife and kids.
Right.
No.
You know what? So Sundays became sacrosanct.
Good.
I'm not, you know
You
what?
should have that.
I'll answer the phone or whatever.
But I'm
it's-
not going to meet.
Yeah, it's
And
not
if
as big
someone
as a
needs
deal
something in an
now.
emergency,
Yeah.
you're gonna get it to them. But,
Exactly,
yeah.
but I can't tell you how many times, especially going back Saturdays, Sundays, and you would sit, people would come, you know, an hour, and then I finally said, you know what? After 45 minutes,
Oh yeah, you're like, what?
I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
like
done.
I had
I'm
people
out.
cancel. I'm
You know.
on my way to 40. It's 45 minutes away. I'm 15 minutes away from the. Oh,
I can't make
can't
it.
make it. I'm like,
Yeah, unfortunately, too many
okay.
times. Yeah.
And then I feel like agents get annoyed sometimes if you cancel the appointment at the last minute. You know, I had all these people that want to see. I'm like, I don't know what you want. I don't know
Exactly.
what. Like they just can't. You think I'm
Yeah.
happy that I'm a half an hour into my ride and they
Yeah.
just canceled
Oh,
on
yeah.
me, or I'm sitting there, squeeze them in. The lady calls it like say 11 o'clock. She's like, can we go see it at 12? Let me call the agent, see if we can get in. Yeah, you can get in. I rush it, leave my son's game. It's 35 minutes away, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting
No show.
and waiting. Hey, where are you? Where'd you park? Maybe you're. Oh my God, I totally forgot. You just made this appointment an hour ago. You begged me to come see this place.
And
now I'm sitting
missed
here.
your son's
I'll
game.
be there in 25 minutes. I said, no, I have to leave. I said, I have
Yeah.
to. I
It's
can't.
not
I have to-
fair.
but I had another appointment in Hanover Township. I'm like, I'm not going to be late for that. I have to leave. I don't. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Either I'll knock on the door, see who's there, if it's the agent or the owner, and then you have to go in and see it. I'm not waiting for you.
Yeah, you can't. But by the way, that guy that did that to me, he ended up buying the house I showed him, ended up getting relocated, sold the house again, called me. I sold it to somebody else. He was looking for another house. That
So
he
it
was
worked
gonna
out.
buy. So it worked out. You put him in his
But
place.
you had to
Mine
you had
stopped
to set the
looking
ground
after a
rules in
year,
the
but-
beginning.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
by
you
doing
gotta
that,
put 'em-
yes.
Again,
Yeah.
I don't want to be taken advantage of.
Exactly.
But
Mine didn't work out that well. She
Yours
stopped
did.
after a year.
Yeah.
She just
Stop.
gave up and moved away to Florida.
But getting back to where people don't show up, I had somebody call me one time, want to go look at one of my listings. It was actually in Belleville. I'll never forget. And my mom was in the hospital. She had broken her leg. And, you know, you're going back and forth from the hospital. They called. They want to go look at the house. So I was like, shoot, I really can't go. But you know what? I'll go. So I make the appointment. I go there. Same thing. 15 minutes, half hour. 45 minutes don't show. I'm calling, I'm texting, nothing. But it gets better. This is why I'm bringing this story up. I don't know if I ever told you this one. So I'm waiting and waiting, nothing. 45 minutes. Now you look like an idiot to your seller because I got the listing too. You know, no show, whatever.
Well, I mean,
Man, but
if it's an
God,
office call,
it's,
yeah,
right,
you
it-
just as long as you say that it's not your friend.
So I never showed up. So I leave. Next, I think it was that night or the next day, I get a call from another agent wants to show the property. Let him go show the property. Meanwhile, we get an offer on the property. I'm like, this name kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
It was the same.
Wait, it gets better. We get the deal. We had a couple offers, but she was the best offer. Signs the deal. We get the offer. We go to the closing table. But again, this is a time when you actually went to a closing and you were sitting there. We go to the closing table, and we're sitting there. Everything's almost, you know, done. The seller side, the buyer signs all the docs. The seller signs all the docs. So I'm like, son of a, I think this is the lady that stood me up. I think it's, and again, you don't want to put them on the spot. What do? I pick up my cell phone, and again, it
You
was a
called
flip
her?
phone. I dialed the phone. All of a sudden, you hear,
Oh,
she looks at her phone. I'm sure she didn't have me, you know,
Sure,
plugged
As a
into the phone.
contact, whatever.
But I'm like, son of
Yeah,
a
so you
gun.
knew it was her.
I knew it was her. But at least a damn courtesy.
Well, I
Hey,
told
my
you I had-
agent called me. I shouldn't have called you.
Right,
whatever.
right. But I
Tell
had
me
one.
whatever.
So the guy calls the office. He wants to see a listing that we have. So I take him, go get up, run to Clifton, show him the listing. He didn't really want to put an offer in on that, but he wants to use me as his agent. So I'm sending him things constantly. He wanted a specific house. Then I call him and I was like, listen, I'm getting this house in such and such a town. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit
Yeah, I like
too
that.
much further than you want to go. I don't know if the price is too high. If it's listed at $599, it's definitely going to go over that. I can't afford that, and that town's too far. Okay, fine. They came to the open house. Didn't see him. was talking to his agent the whole time. He had his back turned. And I remember telling you and Michelle, it was so weird. These people came to the open house, but the buyer, every time I looked, he would turn away, and I didn't even think anything of it. His back was turned to me, or he was downstairs, or he was outside looking at stuff. And then finally we get the contract, and I didn't even notice it when they sent the contract. I didn't recognize the name, but when the lender sent the email address, when the lender sent the email about like the updates, and I saw the email address, I'm like, son of a bitch, it was him.
Yeah.
He used somebody else.
People know.
But I'm like, I sent you the
There's
house.
no
It was my
loyalty.
listing.
No loyalty.
Yeah.
No loyalty at all.
None at
Never
all.
had a word.
Yep, no loyalty.
It's weird.
You know.
I don't know. People must have their reasons, but then we found out he was using like 3 other people
Oh
in our
yeah,
same office.
he actually called me on one of my listings and wanted to put. I remember.
And he
that
used,
guy.
I think he used
Danielle,
Danielle,
yeah.
Kelly. Like he was just whoever he could find, he was just using.
Yep.
And none of those agents were
That's
the
what
ones that
makes the
actually got
business
it was
very
a totally
tough.
different
It
company.
yeah.
But
That-
you're
Yeah,
right.
it kicks you behind. that's what makes it. Shouldn't have to be like that.
No,
You
but
know.
as long as you know you're doing the right thing for everybody, and you're
Yes.
honest, and you're genuine, like we all are.
You have to
here.
be.
Yeah, you have to be.
But when you're like that, you get upset too.
You get upset.
You get hurt,
feelings hurt.
you know,
get,
but-
you get hurt.
But you know what? I feel if you do right by people, it'll come. Like there's times
Right.
where I'll sit with
Karma
people.
is-
It's quiet, and listen. They'll say, you know what? People call me who are police or firemen. I say, listen, do me a favor. I love to help you, but your union's giving a rate that I can't match. Check with them first.
Yeah.
There you
If
go.
they can't help you, you come back. And they'll call me up and say, Sam, thank you so much. We were able to. I have a friend who just told me the other day there was a jumbo rate program out there that I couldn't match, that I referred him to this other person and said, listen, I can't help you, but go see this guy. I know him. He does good work. You could get a great interest rate. And he said, he told my wife the other night, it was because of him. He said, we got our shore house. He was able to offer, but treats me like gold. I mean, so if you do
because
you do right by people, it'll come back to you.
It'll come
Yes.
back.
Yes.
You'll get referrals,
Exactly.
galore, and everything else.
Yeah,
so.
we're not one to talk anyone into doing something they don't
They
want to
don't
No.
wanna do. Right.
If anything, it's the complete opposite.
Exactly. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to, so.
I'll get people all the time. Hey, you sold such and such a house, or you listed such and such a house. Can you help me? Whatever. And you know what? It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It does.
That you help.
But it does hurt
somebody.
when someone uses you for a year and a half and then they turn around and go behind your back and buy a house.
Oh, I get
don't
that.
tell you.
Oh, you're gonna
They're
get that
still
all the
communicating
time.
with you, acting like they're still looking, and then you see on
I get that.
Facebook
10,
that they're in their new home.
10, 12 pre-approvals, Saturday, Sunday, holidays, and to come to find out that they left because someone else was offering an 1/8% better or something, and it was like,
And there's no
okay,
communication.
no. So it's
I'm
you
like,
know,
really?
At least call.
But at least say something. You're still contacting me. I don't know, like maybe trying to like pretend like that you didn't already buy a house. You're contacting me asking questions about a house. We've been looking for a year and a half. I gave you all this advice that you didn't listen to, that in the end listened to everything I said but just went with somebody else.
Exactly. That sounds all too familiar.
And it was just like I was upset about that one.
Not good.
It
And you
was.
should be. I mean, it hurts.
It does.
Yeah, there's no
It does.
two ways about it.
Yep. And sometimes you don't even think about it as, hey, I could have made a commission.
It wasn't
or
the money.
whatever.
No, it wasn't the
It's
money at all.
never-
No,
I
it's-
swear
and
to
I
God,
agree.
it was not
It's
the money at
I-
all.
Trust
Never.
me,
It was
I
just.
agree.
Why
Listen,
didn't
we're
you
not
tell
working
me?
for free,
I'm
but
still
we're not
working.
doing this as far as
Right.
when you're helping those people. It's not because you're
But
looking
I'm
to
like,
cast
I'm
a
still
check.
working.
That's
You're
not the
ha-
reason.
I'm
it's
still looking for a house, and you're
house.
sitting in a house that you bought, and you
Well,
didn't even tell
Exactly,
me.
exactly.
And I remember, like, our whole family was going, we go down the shore a lot. My in-laws have a house. We were going down on a Thursday. She couldn't make the open house. It was on a Saturday. So I said, you know what? She works all day Saturday. And so I said, we'll go on Sunday. I said, you know what? I'll wait. I know you really want to go see this house. I really want it to work out for you. So I didn't. Everyone else, 2 kids and my husband went down the shore and the dog on a Thursday. I waited till Sunday after I took her. And you do all these things for people. Like, I'll wait. I'll miss my vacation for 3 days and I'll see you. And then there's just nothing. They just
It's a
stop.
punch in the
like,
stomach.
Yeah.
It is, unfortunately, yeah.
People are funny. But,
So-
like you
But I
say,
learned now from Vito, gotta just.
Just take a deep breath. It's not about the money. It's about helping.
No, not about the money at all.
It's
But
about
it's
helping
hurtful.
people. That's
Like,
what-
No.
especially
Right.
if they don't tell you. And then you.
Yeah.
And when you do help somebody and you get them in that home and they're on the phone
It's a good
thanking God for bringing you into their life, or they're crying. It is by far and away
it's
the
the
greatest
best
feeling.
feeling.
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, I've had
yeah.
people, a woman come up, thank you that God brought you to, and it's like I'm saying, no, thank the Lord, I appreciate it, but it's the nicest feeling in the world when you could get somebody into their home and they're so appreciative. There's no better feeling.
I had people. They're like, we know we just met you by chance, and we turned it. You're more than a realtor. You're our friend.
You're a friend.
They give me the baby pictures, the updates, and everything. I've been to their house.
That's a
after
great
they
feeling,
moved in.
yes.
It is
It's
a great feeling.
feeling.
And you're probably wondering why I took out my phone, but I'm going to take out my phone. This is a text I got from someone. This is back in April 3rd, okay? I sold them a house, I forget how long, maybe a while ago. Good morning. This is so-and-so from so-and-so street in Belleville. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity you gave me when you accepted my offer. You truly changed our lives. Today I am pleased to say I paid it all off. Thank you so much, and I am sending you so many blessings.
Listen,
And that's all you want.
that's a
all you
MasterCard
want.
commercial. That's priceless.
That
That is priceless.
That is priceless. You can't put an amount on something like
No,
that.
not-
You know?
not at all.
And if you're having a bad day, you look at that text and it makes you feel better.
Yeah, you're
That's
like,
God's
wow,
honest truth.
You know
Yeah.
what? Somebody really appreciated it.
That's
and listen,
nice.
Like we all
And
get
that's-
it.
that's
if,
awesome.
If someone goes to an open house, you've been working with them for a year, and the listing agent promises them,
Right, you're
if
going to
you
get a
come
better
with
deal
me,
from
which
me,
you
which
shouldn't
is
do, and they do
illegal,
it,
but
it's a house.
oh,
Exactly.
I get it. Just
Oh,
a
yeah.
little honesty, and that's all you ask for.
I've gone to people where they bought a house, same thing. You're showing them so many houses, and all of a sudden they end up buying a house because they went to an open house. They got promised, you're going to get
Sure.
a better deal, whatever. You know
get
what?
it.
We're still friends. I came, I gave you a housewarming gift, whatever. But guess what? All of a sudden I got.
Oh, not
you-
me. I wasn't that nice.
No, you weren't that. But all of a sudden, I got, referrals. I got, when they went to sell, they called me or whatever.
It works out.
It
works out.
does work
But that
out.
text, that feel, there's nothing
Oh,
better
with
in the
that
world.
text,
nothing.
When I saw
Yeah.
that text, I'm like,
I said, you must have teary-eyed because
I
you
was.
think that
I
somebody
was.
had said come to write that text and
Yeah.
felt so that much
That
about
far
you.
after.
She didn't have to do that to me. And I was the listing agent. I wasn't even, I don't think I was the selling agent.
That's awesome. That's
You know,
awesome.
But again, it's crazy. But Sam, what do you think? Yeah.
Listen, I'm now I'll bring good wine, so I expect to come back
Tomorrow? Noon?
Tomorrow I can't. So, but no, I thank you for having me. Really,
No,
this is
no,
great.
no,
No, it was
I-
great.
I mean, it's
You're
just-
a natural.
Oh,
You really
I
are.
could. It's like sitting at home and the only difference is not food on the table.
That's
Yeah.
it. But,
Yeah.
but this is
There's
what
no
it's
super
like.
sodden.
Well, I'll bring if you want. I mean,
You know what? I make my own super sod. Maybe
Oh,
I
do
should
you?
bring some tomorrow. Yeah, super sod sauce.
the next time I'm going to hold you to that. So yeah.
No,
Bite-sized piece, nothing that anyone has to bite into.
no,
It's
no.
awkward when you're talking to somebody.
Little.
But thank you very much for having me, Ira. This was great. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing the wine.
Oh, my pleasure.
People now got to
Yeah.
look at that and say,
Step it
hey,
up,
hey,
people.
step it up. What can I
Step it
bring?
up.
I love it.
And since the wine is done, we have to say, we're good here. But Sam, again, thank you
My
for
pleasure.
coming. And on that note, one day, and that day will come when you need to buy or sell a house. And when that day does come, you need to call Vito Cantuzzi, the godfather of Northern New Jersey real estate.
And if he's in the hospital, actually he answers the phone in the hospital. But if he's on vacation, you can call me.
I love it.
Thank you.